presidency so far, writes Chris Silza, CNN's editor-at-large, saying, among other unforced errors, the Biden administration is engaged in a circular firing squad over the CDC's recommendation that even vaccinated individuals wear masks indoors. Democrats hoped that Kamala Harris would be the charismatic progressive voice that could prop up the Biden presidency during times like these. But a stunning report by Axios' Jonathan Swan says that this is hardly a policy to turn things around. The VP has been relegated to a smaller and smaller role since this disastrous interview with NBC's Lester Holt when she went to Central America as the nation's administration's border czar, but didn't actually go to the border.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
Here's the headline scoop. Inside a Kamala Harris crisis meeting, writes Jonathan Swan of Axios, reporting a group of the Democratic Party's most influential women met for dinner at a home in the nation's capital last month to game out how to defend Vice President Kamala Harris and her chief of staff against a torrent of bad press. Mike Allen is the co-founder of Axios and Politico, joins us now from our bureau in D.C. Mike, few people have the kind of intimate knowledge of you do in D.C. over a number of administrations. How unusual is a dinner in D.C. like this?
Leland, this is the kind of room you're almost never in. And this is so fascinating because some of those most powerful and best-known Democratic women in the land, Donna Brazile, Jennifer Palmieri, Kiki McLean, Karen Finney, people very familiar to your viewers, they got together. It was the first time they'd been together since shutdown. Casual dinners and pasta and salads. They were enjoying the fact that they had a Democratic president, but they were worried about the coverage that the vice president was receiving. And so they were talking about how can we, from the outside, help support her. And they were talking a little bit backside driving, a little bit second guessing of how she was being portrayed. How could they give advice to the team that was in the White House about how to make the most of this moment, as someone familiar with this dinner told Jonathan Swan, somebody who is a woman of color, a historic office holder, someone who'd been a prosecutor, someone who'd been a U.S. senator. How can they make the most of that? And Leland, here's a twist. Something else that I was told by someone familiar with that dinner. These women felt that there was very much a sexist overtone to some of the coverage of Vice President Harris. Some of them had been involved in Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, and as one of them said to me, we felt like we have seen this before.
Interestingly enough, the rollout of candidate Kamala Harris, nominee Kamala Harris, to Vice President Kamala Harris was choreographed by the top minds in the Democratic Party. We had the Vogue cover that we have that they put her on. Do we know what came out of this dinner? Is there a game plan? Is there more magazine covers? Is there more trips to the border? Is there a trip to Europe like she said she hadn't been to?
This is a group of people who are hoping to help from the outside. So one thing they talked about is how can they make this case to reporters? So a little bit injecting some of these ideas in the conversation. And of course, Vice President Harris is very attuned to what her key supporters on the outside are saying. So this is something the Democratic Party recognizes that these stories are going to continue and want to change both the reality of some of the structural things around the vice president and the perception of them. And the why it matters, Leland, of course, is 2024, 2028, whenever there is an opening for Democratic nominee, the vice president is going to have it. And so Democrats want to have as strong a person as possible for the person to run either after President Biden, or who's a future nominee for the party. Reasonable people can agree, as we alluded to in the intro, that President Biden has not had the greatest week, probably not greatest past 2 weeks. Today, though, he decided by executive order to tell Americans what kind of cars they were going to buy. By 2030, we were going to have half electric vehicles. Here's the soundbite. We'll get your feeling on the other side.
Our national labs in America, our universities, our automakers led in the development of this technology. We led in the development of this technology. And there's no reason why we can't reclaim that leadership and lead again. But we just have to move, and we have to move fast.
Typically, when you've got a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, a Democratic White House, you do these things by legislation, not by executive order. What does it say that so much of the Biden agenda now is relying, like the eviction moratorium, on executive order?
No, that's a great point, Leland. I think there's going to be even more of it because a lot of what the president has outlined, he's not going to get. He got to have a little bit of fun today at that event. As you pointed out in your lead, he hasn't been having a lot of fun lately, but they had a bunch of hardware on the South Lawn. The president was even able to make a Corvette joke, so he was in his comfort zone there. But you're right, Leland, about the crises that are stacking up for the president. So you remember that he started his presidency the day of the inauguration. He was talking about 4 converging crises, is what he called them. That, of course, was COVID, the economy, climate, and racial equity. Those are the 4 crises interconnected, of course, that he was going to build his action around. Well, Leland, I guess we could say now that the president would pine for the days of 4 crises, because to that you want to add, at the very least, the border crisis, which blew up faster, of course, than they thought. Crime in the cities. COVID, of course, is back in a new way despite the vaccines. You've got inflation out there, and you're always worried about cyber attacks. Wow. So the inbox keeps getting fuller.
Well, you'd probably also add China, Russia, and Iran to the list as well of things. And who had Cuban Revolution possible on their 2021 bingo card? Mike Allen of Axios. Always good to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Leon, thank you for your coverage.
All right.
I won't let them get that off. You can't get that off. I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety nets.
You might say security for me, but not for thee. That was Democratic Congresswoman Cori Bush explaining why she should spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on private security while still pushing to defund